What's up guys, it's Maze here, back again with another video. Today we're looking at my first race in the Logitech McLaren G Challenge for Forza Motorsport. This is the semifinals, the first race in the semis. What you're looking at right now is actually the qualifying race. So not about where you finish, but just about your fastest lap, which determines your spot on the grid for the actual race. And I'm going to take a second to explain kind of how all this works if you guys didn't know about it or kind of have questions about, all the details of how the races work, what the rounds are, and kind of how everything plays out. So pretty much, if you guys play Forza, you're probably familiar with the Rivals mode. And if you've been playing the Rivals mode for the last couple of months at least, then you would have seen something in the, I think it's the, forgot what section it is, but it's another page, and it'll say something about, I think it's like featured, and it would say stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, one of those, and it would say something about the Logitech McLaren Challenge. And basically what it is the first stage, there's a McLaren obviously on a certain track, and the second stage, different McLaren, different track, and the third stage obviously a different McLaren on a different track. And what you had to do was place top 15 fastest lap in your region for any of the stages, and you would qualify for the semifinals. So that means that I, obviously, if you guys didn't know, I'm in North America, so I would have to be top 15 in my region. So when you guys go look at the leaderboard, it's going to show you your world's rank first, which I think at the end of the day, I think about a little over 100,000 people did each stage. And in my region, it was about, I want to say 60. It might have been more in the world. I don't really remember all the numbers, but pretty much you just wanted to make sure you were in the top 15, or your lap time was for your region. And the first stage was Sienna at Maple Valley, which honestly, guys, I just cannot stand Maple Valley. I'm not very good at it. It's just too much going on, especially with that car. You can't, it's just so hard to control. You have to, like, this car right here, the 7, I think it's a 765, it just slides around. It's just, you're basically drifting through the corners to get lap time, and you have your throttle control and your steering input has to be immaculate. I just didn't really try on the first one. It's not a good combo for me. The second one was what you're looking at right now, which is the 765 McLaren at Hakone, and it was a little bit better, I guess, for me. I just unfortunately didn't have a ton of time to really just spend hours just taking all I could, finding the areas where I could just gain tenths of a second. This first corner right here, if you watch right here, you almost kind of have to like slide your way through it. Probably can't really understand how much on the edge you are through that first corner. This is a tough section to get right to, and then the last stage was at Grand Oak, and it was the P1 GTR McLaren, and that was the one where I spent hours and hours and hours, laps upon laps upon laps, trying to find every bit of time I could, and that's the one where I qualified. So ended up making it through, and obviously I was pretty thrilled about that. Just to be able to compete at a level like this was something I never thought would happen. I've always been interested in league racing and possibly doing that in the future for years. I just never thought I could hang with the top split, and I still can, to be honest with you. Like TPR Venom, you can see him in the first spot here. Really fast guy. I mean, really fast player. I don't know how some of these people do it, but obviously tons of time in the game. I think I could get faster if I put more time and effort into the game. I'm not always playing Forza. I play a lot of sports games, mainly hockey, mainly NHL. That probably takes up like 90% of my gaming experience, so to speak. But yeah, just to see some of these guys in the same lobby as me is unreal, and something that I would have never thought would be possible. And to qualify for something like this and make it to the semifinals of a tournament, I never thought I'd be able to do that. Honestly, this Logitech event kind of just fell in my lap, and I was like, I saw it on the Rivals menu, and I was like, what the heck do I have to lose? Like, let's just try it. Let's just see what we can do. And almost spin out there, but gathered up fairly nicely. Yeah, anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and run through, now that we've made it to the semifinals, we're going to run through the format of how the rounds work and all that fun stuff. So pretty much there's 3 rounds. Each round has a main race and a second chance race. So there's 16 players in the main race, and you have to finish P6 or better. If you don't finish P6 or better, you get kicked to a second chance race automatically. So that happens in rapid succession. Like after the main race, the very next race will be a second chance race. And in the second chance race, you have to finish P3 or better. If you're able to do that, then the rest of the people don't make it, and you move to round 2. Now, each round is going to correlate with each stage that the rivals were. So each car and track combination. So the first stage for the rivals was the Sienna at Maple Valley. So that's what round 1's going to be. And then if you make it to the next round, then round 2 will be Hakone and the 765, which is what we're in right now. And I know you're probably curious about why I said this is my first race and this is supposedly round 2. Well, pretty much, you know, some people just couldn't make it. It was kind of an awkward time, and everybody's got obligations and things. So most people don't get off work until 5. Maybe they're home by 6, but this event started at 4. So, you know, we just ended up skipping the whole first round because not everybody could make it. And that honestly played into my favor quite a bit. Because that combo of the Sienna at Maple Valley was absolutely my worst combo by far. So I was not upset at all about skipping that. Finishing up the lap here, I'm getting a little squirrely. You're literally on the edge of those tires breaking traction the whole time. I just can't. You guys just have to try it for yourself. Just take a stock 765 and go here and tune it with whatever you can tune it, but you can't tune, like you can't upgrade it. So just see how fast you can lap around this place. Race Boy over here, my buddy that I play a bunch of NHL with, just wishing me some good luck. Appreciate that. And that's going to be it for the qualifying. I ended up qualifying 8th, and we're going to have to finish in the top 6 of this race. If we are not able to do that, we're going to have to go to the second chance race, which is where we'll have to finish top 3. Off the grid here, decent start, not too bad. Obviously the guy behind me, or girl, not sure, had a little bit of a better launch. And I'm trying to give the space here, but I'm also not trying to run into Horizon. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get sideswiped, but it's okay. They lose control, and I try to go outside, but I can't. End up having to slam on the brakes, which now I'm back to 9th. Just frustrating. You know, there are protests in this league or in this event. You can protest things, but I just didn't think that was worth it. I mean, we are racing, it's just gonna happen sometimes. But yeah, going on to this corner here, you really have to be mean to the car. You really have to, you just have to downshift and just limit the hell out of it to have any type of good pace. Most of the time, at least that's what I do. And from the replays I watched doing the rivals, trying to figure out where I could find time and look at other people's lines and what they were doing, a lot of people were doing the same thing. So it's just something you have to do. Finishing up the first lap here in 8th place, going to try to catch up with Horizon. Venom is going to take off. I mean, he's just absolutely nasty at this game, and has been for a while. Not much we can do about that. Going into this, guys, I didn't even know that I was going to be good enough to qualify, to be honest. As we get a little tap, and there was a bumper there, but I had no idea I was going to be able to do it. I know that I had the pace, but we're talking about, 15 people. I just didn't think my chances were that good. I mean, I'm realistic about my skill level, and I felt like I was just good enough to barely not make it, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like I could have a top 20 time or maybe a top 30 time, but just barely not make it. And ended up having enough to pull through, but it was kind of making me nervous because I know these guys are fast, and I was really nervous. My heart was beating so fast throughout these races, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna try my best, do all I can. And we're catching up to Horizon here, trying to make the pass cleanly, so you don't want to run people off the road and possibly get flagged by the stewards. or involved in a protest of some sort. So we're looking for that P6. And we're hopefully going to take P7 here. He's on the brakes early. I'm on the brakes really late. Go a little deep. Actually very deep. And he's going to do the cutback on me there. I'm going to try it again here. Cut back again. Those curbs can really upset the car. It was tough to find a tune that wouldn't act crazy every time you hit a curb. Like, just trying to fix the bump stiffness and all those things to make the car handle a little bit, less aggressive hitting the curbs and the rumble strips. I'm actually using RZM Supreme's tune. I started out with his tune. We're in a Discord together, all of us that are in the semifinals and stuff. We're in a certain channel, and he was throwing out his tunes and his best times for all 3 combos. So I took his tune as kind of like a starting point. I had my own tunes that I do tune a little bit. You guys know that if you watch my videos, I pretty much put all my Forza GT cars tunes on the storefront. I'm not like some type of like fancy, been doing tuning on this video game for years, or like really dive deep into tuning. So I took his tune as kind of like a baseline and kind of made just a few adjustments to it to suit my style. And it seemed to work pretty well, at least from what I felt during the races. I'm trying to catch up with 6th place here. We really need that 6th position. I was just wishing I could just go ahead and advance to the 3rd round immediately in this race, not have to worry about a second chance race. Like I said, my heart was thumping, and I just wanted to get this over with and prove to myself at this point I can make it to the finals. So if we do happen to finish top 6 here, or top 3 in the second chance race if we need it, then we don't automatically make it to the finals. You have to make it through the 3rd round as well. So the theme here is people keep, dying off after every round, after every race pretty much. And if you make it to the 3rd round and you're in the top 6 of your race, or the top 3 of your second chance, then you're going to be in the finals. So that was my goal at this point. If I just make it to the finals, I know I'm not as fast as a lot of these guys, but if I could just somehow make it to the finals, then I would be pretty happy with myself. And no matter what, you win some kind of money if you make it to the finals. So, and by the way, I think in one of my earlier videos, I said something about winning 100K, and I misspoke when I said that. I don't know why I said it that way. It's 100K in prizes and money that they're handing out in the finals, but it's not like you win 100K if you win the whole thing. They're giving out prizes and stuff. I'm getting a little squirrely there. Luckily I hang on to it, but I lost a lot of ground there. But to finish my thought, there are prizes they give out, and they put those prizes, the worth of those prizes, into they take it into account when they're calculating up to 100K and all that stuff. So there's basically $10,000 for each region finals that's going to be split amongst wherever you finish. So if you finish 16th, 15th, I think you get $100. So I knew if I just made it to the finals that I was gonna make at least $100, which wasn't really worried about the money, to be honest. Was just mainly trying to get my name out there, prove to people I'm decently fast, prove to myself that I can achieve stuff if I put my mind to it. I'm a very competitive person. I played sports my whole life, and I play some leagues like NHL. Been playing NHL leagues for a long time, and just really competitive. I don't know why. It's just something that makes me happy. I've always had that mindset. So I really just wanted to prove to myself that I could do something like this. I've never been in any type of or way, shape, or form of a league race on Forza or any racing game. So this is my first, experience doing this kind of stuff, and I was definitely feeling the nerves. But we're trying our best to catch up. The P6, that's just the name of this whole race pretty much, just trying to catch up and make it into that spot so that we can advance, as quickly as possible, not have to worry about a second chance race and having more pressure on us to finish top 3. So at this point, I'm just, I'm not concerned about 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. I just want 6th. I'm trying my best here to lap as consistently as possible and as smoothly as possible. and I keep looking up at the time, seeing just how far I am behind, gaining a 10th, and then I'll lose a 10th. It's just back and forth, teeter-tottering the whole race. We're gonna try our best here. I do know, I was trying to figure out where I was better and where I was, not as good as the person in front of me. And that first corner, I tended to be able to brake a little bit later. But if I could just get that slide right, you pretty much have to drift that first corner. If I could just get that right, and this little, I don't know, corkscrew bend thing, I don't know. That was like the toughest part of the track for me. So if I could just get that right, then I knew I had really good brakes. My braking zone was on point here, and I knew I could manage to make up some time on the back half of the track. So if I could just get through that first section, I'd be good. And I needed to do that a couple times, obviously, because I'm running out of time here. Back a second and 3/10 at this point, because I had that little moment on the first corner on the beginning of this lap. Just trying my best to keep myself as calm as possible. And, it's not really working. Making some silly mistakes, but I feel like everybody is obviously more calm when you're just doing rivals and you have as many laps as you want, and you have the opportunity to kind of be experimental with, what if I go down a gear here, what if I don't go down a gear, what if I go up a gear a little bit quicker so the wheels don't spin, and like just different lines you can take, and like all these things you're trying to figure out. Like you're not under so much pressure until you get into a race like this and you're like, okay, I know the lines I need to take, I know the times I need to shift, I know my braking points. It's just about executing it under all that pressure, and it's tough. It's really tough. You can't use any ABS, can't use any stability control. The lowest assisted gearbox you can use is just manual with no clutch, so you have the option to use clutch or no clutch, but you can't use automatic. You can't use the racing line, obviously, as you can see. You can't use, they really made it like hardcore mode, if you guys know what that is, in Rivals. So you can't use any assist pretty much. And luckily for me, I don't use any of that stuff, except for I'll throw the racing line on most of the time in multiplayer. But that's pretty much just as a guidance, like a reference. It just kind of helps me. You're in different cars and stuff like that. Once I'm in a car for a long time, like I am when I was doing this, like I figure out my braking points, I'm good to go. That's the biggest thing, like figuring out off throttle and on throttle, or on the brakes and on the throttle, pretty much. And you're good to go. And then your kind of racing sense takes over if anything happens to, get thrown at you during the race. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people struggled with that, with not having the racing line on and not having ABS on. A lot of people were using ABS. I got the draft here. I'm going to see if I can make a slingshot pass. Don't want to go to the inside because it kind of scared me, I'll be honest. But I make the pass on the brakes a little bit late, down to third, up to fourth so that I don't get too much wheel spin, up to fifth, early two. Sometimes I'd go up to fifth around here, just like I did there. Kind of ease my way through that corner at about 30% throttle until I get onto the straight section. Then down a gear here, taking a bit of curb. As soon as my car rotates, I'm back into the throttle. And then down to third gear here, going into fourth before I get back on the throttle. And right after this curb, I'll let off the gas. Down a gear, back up to fifth most of the time. You get back on the gas and not get too much wheel spin. So I've completed the pass here. I got 3 laps to hold this guy off. And if I can do that, I am through into the next round, which is the last round. Going to got hit pretty hard there. I do remember that. Really threw off my line. I was on the brakes really late, but I feel like I did that pretty well. And that really threw off my line a bit. You really need to it's hard to, like, once one turn gets thrown off, the next couple turns are thrown off as well, obviously. So it's tough to manage when, someone just kind of gives you a little bit of an extra shove there. He's in the draft, catching up pretty quickly on that back straight. I'm just going to hug the inside, not give him the option there. Now I'm hanging around this right-hander that I have to slide 5th gear through. You pretty much slide the car on every corner. So you have to get really comfortable with your throttle control and your steering input. That's just the best way to find time in these cars that you can't. They don't handle like a race car. I'll tell you that's the truth. Like, they just don't handle very well. So you really have to make them. Like, you have to drive the absolute crap out of them to get them to function as well as they need to make time. Pulling alongside me now. Got a bit of a run here. I know if I just hang out on the inside here, I'll be okay, which I do. We both go a little deep, make some contact. Kind of felt bad for that, but at the same time, I also had him hit me last lap, so I just let him go past. I'm thinking, you know, maybe I can get the draft here. There's no sense in going through here side by side. It's just not going to happen. Got a little excited there and went wide, and it's going to result in a penalty. Yes. Now we have that to deal with. But luckily the guy in front also has a penalty. Maybe not as much as you can see, but that was really unfortunate. I felt like I had pace to catch him, pass him again. I'm gonna wait for the last lap and then just pass him going into that corner where I'm really good. I'm after the back straight, that first right-hander, and get the draft and try to dip it low. Just don't know how I'm gonna be able to catch him at this point. And we're coming up to 1 lap left. Once again, getting the power down as fast as I can. I'm out of the slipstream range, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to have a good first corner here. And remember, guys, this is for position to advance to round 3 automatically. So I really wanted this, got a little squirrely there, had to get out of the throttle, and that pretty much killed it. Like, I knew I needed to be within 0.5 of a second to have that slipstream on this back straight. And I'm at 0.6. I know I've got the speed coming out of the exit there of that corner, so I might be able to just tag into it a little bit here, and I get into the slipstream just a little bit. 0.4 on the brakes hard, and just that extra speed threw me off just a little bit, and I'm just watching my advancement position right away into the sunset at this point. My heart's beating hard. You know, I'm sweating. Like, my controller is absolutely shaking. I can't, you know, I'm just trying as hard as I can. Really frustrated because I knew I had pace to advance, and it just did not work out for me. So I'm gonna be the first person to not advance and the first person to enter the second chance race. I mean, we all enter it at the same time. You guys know what I mean. There's the results there. At 15.5 was my fastest lap, which was, you know, pretty close to 5th, 6th position pace. Venom up there with a 14.9 or something crazy. He's just absolutely insane. That's going to do it for this one. Look around for the part 2 of this, which is going to be the second chance race, and we'll see if I advance. So if you guys enjoyed that, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.